this debate is based on To Kill a Mockingbird. We read this book in the class and we explored the themes of the book and we practiced the process and skills of debates with simple topics before we got to more advanced topics that were themes of To Kill a Mockingbird. So a simple topic that we might have practiced with would have been, is Android better than Apple? And we would have just had a debate on that where they could just use experience and get used to going through the process of debate until we could get to more complicated topics. And I already mentioned the position paper that they wrote to help them prepare for this. So, you know, these are a few, I'm sorry, my To Kill a Mockingbird is blocking a bit of it, but these are a few of the themes that we do explore in the debates over the years. Citizens should punish criminals when the law fails to do so. Society is responsible for the individual. The law should not be viewed as what is just. These are all connected to the story in To Kill a Mockingbird. But today's topic will not be one of those. I will let Sharifa reveal what the topic will be today. And why not try a virtual environment? So what we did was we created the Macomb County Courthouse from the To Kill a Mockingbird book. And we just set it up like this. We used the movie to help us because the book doesn't really help us see what it's like inside. So we used movie stills to help us create it. And I have to give credit to Caleb, my son, who did this for me in Roblox because I do not know anything about Roblox at this point, or at that point when we decided to do this. I didn't know how to build these things, and he's been doing Minecraft and Roblox, and he really knows a lot about how to build it. So I asked him if he could do it, and here's different views of the room. And I think he's done a pretty good job of the spirit of the courtroom of the Macomb County Courthouse.
Hi, everybody. It's nice to see so many people joining this debate. It's a debate session with many firsts. First of all, I think this is the first time that we're doing it at night. Usually we do it in the afternoon. And this is the first time we're doing it in the comfort of our own homes. So the kids can basically do the debate while sitting on their bed, right? And we're also using two online platforms, which is Zoom and Roblox. So what is the motion for today? It's true equality would be beneficial for society. Now, why do we choose this? Because in To Kill a Mockingbird, students are faced with different types of people from different socioeconomic backgrounds. Okay, they also encounter racism, right? The neighbors of the protagonists, the main characters of the book, Mrs. Dubois, is actually a racist, right? Tom Robinson, who is being tried for harassing a woman, is a black man, right? And the woman who accused him of harassment has a low socioeconomic status, right? She was very poor. She's in the fringes of society, right? And because you have, based on the color of your skin, based on your income, right? People tend to judge you. People tend to accord a certain status, right? And accord respect, give you respect, or they might just ignore you, right? I think it happens in Malaysia as well, right? But yet, the main character's father, Atticus Finch, right, treats all of them with equality and teaches his children to treat everyone as equals, right? So it's so interesting, this perspective whereby society can be so unequal, right? Yet you can treat them as if they are the same as you. So can true equality ever be beneficial for society? I cannot answer that, right? The book does not answer that, right? Maybe the kids can. Okay, so who's for the motion? The first speaker will be Rachel. The second speaker will be Kyler, right? And against the motion, we have Caitlin as the first speaker and Jaden as the second speaker. Okay, how will the debate be scored? Right? The debate, okay, I've given the scorers their own Google form to fill up, all right, after the debate, right? They need to look at the arguments, okay? The students need to have at least 2 very clear arguments, and they need to have evidence from the text or from historical sources in the 1920s up to about the 1960s, 1970s, right? And obviously, right, there must be a link. So you're looking at transitions and connections, right? That's the analysis and reasoning, right? The evidence actually supports the arguments, right? They have, that's a correlation, right? After that, you want to look at the crossfire round. Here, you want to see whether they are asking very, very pertinent questions, right? They are really poking holes at their opponent's arguments, right? Make sure that they do not insult the person's personality. It's more on the content that you're looking for. So you want a civil debater. Similarly, when you are being questioned, right, you need to obviously respond, right, and counter, right, provide counter arguments. Make sure that the rebuttals are strong, right, that they're able to fill in the gaps, right? Now with this, you want to see that there's a clear flow. I've been talking about, let's try not to interrupt the students. Let's try not to interrupt the students, right? So the students need to have a proper organization of their content, right? That the arguments flow from one to the next clearly. Now, delivery is a bit different. Usually, we need eye contact, but this time we want loud, and the students have to be loud and clear. Okay? If you're still unsure, don't worry. After each session, I will sort of give you a run through of how you should score again. All right, so what are the stages of the debate? The first speaker will speak in the first round, obviously, right? They will be given 3 minutes to present at least 2 reasons, right, why they are for or against the motion. After that, each person will have a chance to question their opponent's arguments. This will also be given, they will also be given 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, then the second round, right, before the second round, the students are given 3 minutes to prepare. I will put them in a breakout room so that they can discuss with their partners, because this is teamwork. Okay, so they're learning teamwork as well, right? And during this time, Amy will entertain you, I guess. All right. Then after that, the rebuttal will begin. They only have 2 minutes, and then again, they need to do a crossfire. This is the second speaker only. Okay. Now, the third round, the first speaker comes back to the floor, right, and decide which points will be the winning point. They need to drop the arguments that are weak, right, and emphasize the better arguments, right, and they need to poke holes in their opponent arguments, right? Okay, so again, they are given 3 minutes preparation time before doing this, right? And then we have the grand crossfire. This will be, I think, one of the most exciting rounds, because every single person is given a chance to question their opponents. Okay, that's the grand crossfire round. Okay, finally, the second speaker, right, need to convince us in 1 minute. Okay, so this is, I think, if you've watched the show Shark Tank, right, you usually need to convince a buyer, right, of your product, of your invention, within a short time frame, right? So that's what exactly they have. They need to be convincing, all right? And they're given only 1 minute.
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen so that we can all see the courtroom, and Sharifa will be able to start off the debate. And Sharifa, take it away. You can start the debate.
All right, thank you, Amy. Now we have the initial constructive speech. We're going to look for attention getters, right? Are they able to hook you from the start? And after that, do they have at least 2 arguments with evidence? Okay, so I want you to, okay, since everyone is silent, you can, I think there's a applause icon, right, on the, okay, give a round of applause to Wei Cheng, who will start us out with why true equality would definitely be beneficial for society. Okay, Wei Cheng, please go to the floor, and I will start the time.
Hi, I'm Wei Zhen. I would like to start with some definitions. First, the definition of equality. According to Britannica, Equality is an ideal of uniformity in treatment or status by those in a position to affect either. Second, the definition of society. Society is a large group of interacting people in a defined territory. So my first point, that equality would be beneficial to society, is that people will get equal opportunities. The first equal opportunity that people will get is equal opportunity for judgment. This can be seen in the book during the Tom Robinson case. In the Tom Robinson case, a black man, Tom Robinson, was accused of harassing a young white woman. During the trial, the judge was white and the jury were all white men. If the judge and the jury had been more diverse, the outcome would probably be very different. My second point, the second equal opportunity is equal opportunity in work. This means that someone has the choice to choose if they want a job, and everyone will be given a choice, and whether they choose a low-skill job is their choice. My second point is that living conditions are better in more equal countries. Higher standards of living in equal countries. So in equal countries, there is higher life expectancy and increased morale among people. When there is increased morale, people feel more accepted, and there's an increased level of trust. According to a study, in US states with more income equality, more people agreed that most people can be trusted.
All right, thank you, Wei Cheng. I have to stop you there. Okay, I forgot to inform our audience that before 30 seconds before the time is up, right, you will actually hear the bell. It's like a school bell. I hope you heard that, right? And then when time is up, you will hear a buzzer that sounds like a ship's alarm, if I'm not wrong, okay? Okay, so very good, Wei Cheng. You started off strong with a definition. Okay, there were some ums and ahs, but please remember, okay, we need to include, we are looking for evidence from the text, right? And also from the years 1920s to 1970s. Okay, now without further ado, let's welcome Caitlin, okay?
Hi, my name is Caitlin, and I'm against the motion that true equality is beneficial to society. Imagine the perfect society, a society where everyone gives equally much and everyone receives equally much. A society where everyone is equal and everything is shared equally. This philosophy is the core of communism, which although is seemingly good in theory, is incredibly bad in practice. Many nations that adhere to communism and communist ideology, such as the Soviet Union, China, and North Korea, have oppressed and killed millions of people. This is because communism, like the idea of true equality, has failed to take into consideration our own individual and highly specialized needs, as well as the very fundamentals of human nature. Simply put, it's just not realistic. A society with my first point is that a society with true equality would simply fail to provide for those who need it most. This is because of the fundamental difference between equality, defined as the state of being equal or giving everyone the same treatment, and equity, defined as the quality of being fair and impartial or giving everyone what they need and deserve. True equality ignores not only the very issues and problems that the underprivileged face, but also the advantages and benefits that the privileged have by issuing a one-size-fits-all solution. Just as a poor person will need more aid and funding than a rich person does not need the same amount of aid and funding as a poor person. Just as Boo Radley, a mentally disabled man in To Kill a Mockingbird, would need more care, such as special treatment or education, in order to help him grow and develop, than the average person does not need the same amount of treatment and care as Boo Radley. Many governments around the world implement welfare programs that help support the underprivileged, which, according to the Luxembourg Income Study and the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, have been shown to reduce poverty and wealth gaps. Welfare really became prominent in America in the 1930s as a response to the Great Depression by providing jobs and financial aid to those worst affected. My second point is that true equality also fails to reward those who contribute most to society, with few incentives to innovate or improve, and punish those that do harm. Should we reward someone who has made breakthroughs in medicine the same as someone who has committed murder? Should we reward Bob Ewell, a violent and abusive white supremacist, the same as Atticus, a brilliant lawyer and an advocate for anti-racism in To Kill a Mockingbird? According to Very Well Mind, a website by psychologists to educate people about psychology, a lot of our behavior can be motivated by external rewards such as money or recognition, called incentive theory.
Okay,
Now, these
Caitlin, I'm so sorry I have to stop you here. Right? Very good. Okay. You criticized one of the political systems that is close, near and dear to my heart, which is communism. But yes, China and Soviet Union, you know, they became communist during that time, right? So very good. Okay. Now, are you ready for the crossfire round? Okay. So we'll start with Wei Chen, right? You have 3 minutes, okay, to speak, Wei Chen. Okay. Are you ready? All right, good. Okay, I'm looking forward to hearing your questions. All right. Okay, can you begin now?
Yes. Okay, so you said that communism didn't work, but it didn't work because the leaders were corrupted, not because the equality of communism was bad. So, yeah, what do you mean by it doesn't work in practice? In practice, it didn't work because of bad leadership, not because it was a bad system.
Okay, I'd like to reply to those points, and I'd like to say, oh yeah, well, I think it's kind of weird how communism seems to attract a lot of those type of people who become leaders, because they really take advantage of the system of communism. It's really easy to take advantage of that communist system because it has a lot of centralized power, because they need to have control over people in order to achieve equality.
And you said that equality is not equity, but the definition of equality is the state of being equal, especially in status, rights, or opportunities. So, for example, if everyone had the same, opportunities, wouldn't that be good?
But the thing is, the difference, yeah, I know what equality is, but the difference between equality and equity is giving people what they need. So you don't give water to a house that is not on fire. When a house is on fire, you don't give water to all the houses that are on the street, right? You give water to only the house that is on fire. So just as you don't need to give a rich person extra stuff, you also need to give a poor person more. What?
Well, you don't have to give everyone water, but you can give everyone access to water. You can give everyone equal access to water.
But the thing is, not everyone has equal. The thing is, not everyone will have equal. Sure, but equality is giving everyone everything. Like for example, would you give aid to a rich person? Would you give aid to Bill Gates?
All right, thank you, Kaylin and Wei Cheng. Very strong questions, right? And right on Wei Cheng's side. All right. So let's see whether Kaylin, let's see whether you have strong arguments against. Strong questions against Wei Cheng's side. Are you ready?
Okay.
Once you
Wait.
go front, I will.
All right, my computer's lagging.
All right.
Okay, so my first question is, how would you be able to achieve true equality realistically?
Okay, so you could use, first the government could implement policies to give everyone equal access to give everyone equal rights and to give everyone equal opportunities. And people can be educated about how to be more equal. They can be educated in school. Yeah.
Okay, another question to what you said. A lot of governments actually implement qualities that are implement laws and stuff that are supposedly equal. Like for example, you shouldn't discriminate against people of color or discriminate against different genders, for example. But yet we still don't have an equal society. So how are you going to resolve that issue of people's own biases?
Well, I think people have to be taught from young to see everyone as equal. So you need to have a mix of government policy and teaching.
Okay. My second question is equality is usually defined as giving everyone the same thing, right? But should we give rich people the same amount of care as poor people? Should we give rich people aid? Like, for example, should we let rich people have like a share of all the money that comes in from charities? Because then that would be dividing it equally among everyone. Would charities cease to exist? Because if you have a charity, you need to distribute that money to a particular group, an underprivileged group. So if we were to implement true equality, does that mean that charities would cease to exist because we have to divide the money equally among everyone?
Well, if there was actually equality from the start, there would not be rich people and there would not be poor people. Everyone would be the same.
So what you're saying is that you're planning to, how are you going to divide all those assets?
Thank you, Kaylin and Wecha. All right, so interesting crossfire round. Okay, just a reminder to everyone. Okay, so we've got a very good first round, very strong points from both sides. But just a reminder, remember to use evidence from the book, okay? And also from the years 1920s to the 1970s. Put up various scenarios, but always bring in evidence from that point in time and also from the book. Okay. Okay, so we're now at the second round. That means the second speaker will be given a chance to respond to the claims made by the first speaker on the opposing side. They need to disprove the other side's arguments, right? They've been given 3 minutes to prepare, but only 2 minutes to speak, right? So let's welcome our second speaker for the motion, Kyler. Can you please come forward? All right, anytime you're ready, once you speak, I will begin the timer.
All right. So for my first point, true equality will bring fair justice to the people. For example, the Scottsboro Boys. During 1931, there were 9 of African American teenagers, ages 13 to 19, that were falsely accused of raping 2 white women in Alabama. The case was heard in Scottsboro, Alabama, which was heard in 3 rush trials. They were sentenced to death except for the 13-year-old, and as time passed during the retrials, the alleged victims admitted to fabricating the story, and none of the boys actually even touched them. But still, the jury still found them guilty, and this is an example of injustice because of racial inequality. If there was equality back in 1931, this would not have happened to the boys. And for my next point, true equality will bring a better economy for the country, as more people will have more opportunity to work compared to during the 1920s, 1930s, the Great Depression. The economy was bad, as most Black people and women were unemployed, and even if they were employed, they would receive little to no pay. As compared to today, the economy is more balanced, and there are less poor people compared to then. Thank you.
All right. Well done. Okay, very interesting points, Kyler. You've brought out 2 events that happened around the 1920s, right? One of them, the Scottsboro Boys, right? Something similar happened in the 80s, right? To the boys known as the Central Park 5. All right. So, Jaden, are you ready? Okay. You can begin speaking.
Hi, my name is Jaden, and I would like to explain the social definition of equalities. The social equality is a state of affairs in which all people within a specific society or isolated group have the same status in possibly all respects. In terms of status, is position a person occupies in a particular setting. So you could say a lawyer and a construction worker has the same job, so it's basically saying that all human beings have to be farmers. So all of us have the same jobs. So we're like robots. So it would be like the Atticus, a brilliant lawyer, has the same job as the judge John Taylor, or either the murderer Bob Ewell. But equity is the provisional of varying levels of support based on specific needs to achieve greater fairness of treatment and outcome. So it would be like achieve people with different jobs or their specializations, whilst equality has no specializations. Equity will provide specializations in different jobs and their strengths and weaknesses. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Jaden. Very interesting that you're countering the points, Wei Cheng's definition with the definition of equality and equity on your side, right? Okay, so now we are done with the rebuttals, okay, right? Whereby they responded to claims made by the first speaker on the opposing side, right? Okay, so we're going to have the second crossfire round, okay? Kyla, are you ready? Okay, good. Okay, you may begin.
All right, Jaden. So you just said that all human beings have the same jobs. Uh, well, actually, it would be better if all human beings have equal or similar pay without a huge gap. And it will be more fair, and this will develop less poor people and less rich people. So more people will be equal and not suffering. And this will bring a better society and equality, I feel. Yeah. And
If everyone has the same pay, means they'll have the same position. If they have the same position, who will be leading the group? Who will be leading the group and who will...
well, it is. Well, it doesn't, having the same pay doesn't mean that there could not be a leader. They could, everybody could have the same pay and they could still contribute as much as everyone else.
So you're
So it will be more
saying,
fair. This can also reduce corruption.
Okay.
Can reduce corruption during parties.
The reason people would corrupt is because of greed. It has nothing to do here. But as you're saying, so people like, so janitors and like normal like CEOs will have the same pay, although they are working in different.
Well, this.
All right. Thank you, Kyla and Jaden. All right. So Jaden has started questioning Kyla's questions. Okay, and Jaden, you can ask more questions now. All right. So the floor is yours.
So Kyla, you talk about fair justice, right? So you're saying so do you mean a burglar who just stole a snatch thief who just stole a purse, and a guy who pointed a gun and actually murdered someone will get the same justice system? Is that what you're saying?
No, what I meant was people with a fair justice, meaning that they will get sentenced the way that they should, without they should be judged by their actions and not judged by their, let's say, race, religion, or gender.
Then that would be like equity, because they are based on their specific needs, or in this case their specific crimes, and not in which everyone is the same respect, which is equality.
Equality would be making them well, true equality would bring a more less flawed of a justice system. I'm just using history as a example for this.
Okay, go on. In history, what example?
Okay, so like I just said, the Scottsboro boys, because they were black, they could not defend themselves.
Okay.
They nobody would listen to them, and everybody only believed the white woman, even though the white woman said that they didn't do it, the jury still found the black boys guilty.
Right. All right. Thank you, Jaden and Kyla. Yeah. I was also wondering when you were talking about fair justice, right? Not looking at the color of the skin or the gender, right? I was thinking, how about the Tom Robinson case, right? How about the Scottsboro trial, right? If you have included that, that would be right. That would give us a better idea of what both of you were talking about, right? Now, all right. So we're done with the second round. All right, very good questioning from both individuals, and you could see very good counter arguments as well. Rachel, we hand the next session to you. All right. Here, I hope you and Kyla have decided on which point will help you win and which you're going to drop. Okay, I hope the 3 minutes was enough. I know Kyla came in a bit late, right? Okay, but I hope the time spent was enough. Wei Cheng, are you ready?
Okay, so my first point is that true equality would mean fair justice for everyone. So if we take the example from history of the Scottsboro trials and the example from the book of Tom Robinson's trial, those trials were not fair. All the jury was white men, and the judge was also a white person, judging crimes committed by a black person. My second point is that true equality would bring a better economy. As we can see now, the economy is better, and equality is also higher right now. Charities can be used to help with equality. They can be helped to level the equality between the rich and the poor by helping the poor get into a position that would be more equal. In an equal society, rewards would not be worthless, because if you made a good contribution, you would still get non-material rewards, such as popularity within the society and just the satisfaction of having made a big contribution. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Wei Cheng.
Okay, so I'd like to go back to my first point where we defined equality, and equality is basically giving everything the same thing. But equity is giving people different things according to their needs and what they deserve. So going back to one of the points that Wei Zheng made, we can't give everyone the same thing, because a rich person does not have the same needs as a poor person, and a poor person does not have the same needs as a rich person. You won't give a rich person extra money. Like, for example, you won't give a rich person funding and special privileges, like discounts, as a poor person. And you also would probably need to tax a rich person more than a poor person. So if we have total equality, we can't do that, because that would mean giving everyone the same thing, giving the rich person the same benefits as a poor person, and giving the poor person the same benefits as the rich person. So true equality would just fail to provide for those who need it most, because it ignores the very issues and problems that underprivileged face, but all the advantages and benefits that the privileged have. It basically just issues a one-size-fits-all solution, in my opinion. Second point is that it won't it probably won't reward those who contribute to society. Like I said, I reference a website by psychologists to educate people about psychology, that our behavior is not just motivated by internal things. It's also motivated by external rewards, such as money or recognition, and that's called incentive theory. So I think without these external rewards, not only will people not receive what they deserve, but they'll also be less motivated to create things and contribute to society. So ironically, true equality actually creates more inequality than equality. Thank you.
Thank you, Caitlin. I'm so sorry, I have to stop you there. All right. It's very interesting that you use research techniques, right? That you probably would have used during the iSearch paper, right? I see that you quoted sources from psychologists, right? From the internet. So it's excellent that things that you've learned from the past assignments, right? You are still applying them now. All right. Okay. And are you all ready for the grand crossfire? I think, Caitlin, you've been asking that. Okay, now
Yes,
it's grand.
I'm very ready.
Very ready. No wonder you keep asking. Is it the wrong? Okay. So let's start with Wei Chen and Kyler. Are you both ready? I understand your strong points are Tom Robinson and the Scottsboro trial, right? Okay. Let's see whether you're going to use them or other evidence from the text and the history. Are you ready? Can we
Yes.
begin? Okay, so you have 2 minutes. Who wants to go first? You've decided?
I'll go first.
Right.
All right. So, Caitlin, you said that if there was that one size fits all, and if people have the same rewards, that will be better. It actually would be better if we develop equality now. There will be no rich and poor people, and everyone would be of the same size. So it's actually better for everyone. Not that if immediately we give equality now, but if we start to slowly develop equality, then in the future we can have everybody of the same status, and there will be no rich and there's no poor people. And the reward system, if we reward people that contribute to society equally, then everybody will have to equally contribute to society. And for, let's say, judgment and prison and sentences. So all these, if there are equal sentences, like a very strong punishment for those who commit crimes, and it's the same punishment for everyone, then nobody will commit those crimes.
Okay. Thank you. I would like to respond to some of your points that you brought up by bringing new points to the table. So I think there are still many problems with this idea of true equality, especially how one would go about achieving this true equality. Like, for example, you said, oh yeah, if everyone's equal from the start, but what does it take to make everyone equal from the start? I think true equality is largely incompatible with human nature, which would then need a very high level of control in order to control that said human nature. So just according to psychology today, just as humans can be selfless and good, humans are also inherently selfish and bad. As long as humans are imperfect, we will never have a perfect system.
Okay.
As long as we have the capacity and will to act selfishly, we will never have true equality. Take, for example, the courthouse and justice system in To Kill a Mockingbird, a place where people stand in an equal plane and are judged equally, supposedly. But this equality was destroyed by the bias of the jury, who in the end decided to incarcerate Tom Robinson, an innocent black man, just because he was black. The
Can you
truth
hear
is-
me?
Yes?
Hello? No wonder.
Yes?
Can you,
Hello?
hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, but you're cutting in and out.
Yeah, lagging.
All right. Because I've been trying to stop you for a very long time. Hold on. Okay, let me just try to reconnect this. Okay. All right, Caitlin. You. Okay. Hello. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
I guess me lagging was to your benefit because you really went more than 2 minutes. I don't know whether you heard the buzzer. So be careful, okay? I know.
I didn't hear the buzzer at all, so... And I didn't have much time to begin with because the questioning period took a very long time. So I only had like 30 seconds to respond.
You can respond now because it's your turn. The grand crossfire. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah? All right. So do you want to speak now? Or?
Yes, please.
All right. Okay, you may begin.
Just a second, it's lagging. Okay, so just as I was saying, the truth is that no matter how equal the system is, the shortcomings of humans will always get in the way of equality. Many communist leaders, such as Stalin, under the guise of equality, took advantage of such a system and the power that came with it and used it to benefit himself at the cost of millions of others. During his regime from the 1920s to the 1950s, in which 20 million people were killed in the name of equality. My second point is we are all imperfect. We are all to some degree selfish and biased. In order for us to achieve true equality, we would have to take drastic measures in order to curb this innate feature of ourselves. We would probably need a very high degree of uniformity in order to ensure equality, the same homes, the same clothes, and the same cars. We might even have to control physical aspects of ourselves, like skin color, in order to stop people from discriminating against those that are different from them. You might even have to brainwash or mind control people with set values in order to make sure that everyone is treated equally. When we limit ourselves by uniformity and regulation and take away our individuality, humans stagnate, and as a result, society stagnates. We need new ideas, concepts, and experiences to grow and improve, and when everyone's the same, when everyone is truly equal, we can't have those differences that are so important to our development. True equality comes at a steep price, our personal freedom, and by extension, our growth and the growth of a society as a whole. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, so to respond to your first point, I'd like to say that the debate topic is whether true equality would be beneficial to society, not whether true equality would be realistic to achieve.
Okay. I would like to respond to that point by saying that the reason why true equality is not beneficial to society is because it's just not realistic. It doesn't work in the real world. It can't be beneficial unless it works in the real world.
Okay, so we have to stop there. The grand crossfire round has ended. Okay, interesting statement for this round rather than questions. Okay, but it's okay. Right now, it's actually the final focus, right? So the second speaker. Now you have time to speak. All right. And prove why you should win. Okay, so you only have 1 minute. Remember, you only have 1 minute, right? So highlight your most important point and conclude your debate with arguments that are the strongest. So I hope that during the preparation time, you chose really the arguments that are strong and also have evidence from where the text, okay, and historical sources. Yeah, all right. So you can give a lot of scenarios, that's good, but always bring in the evidence, right, to support your scenarios from these two sources. All right, so let's begin with Kyler. Are you ready?
All right. Okay. So, for starters, true equality will bring fair justice to the people. For example, the Scottsboro boys that I just mentioned. If true equality was implemented back then, they would not have been unfairly punished. And true equality would bring a better economy for the country as more people have the opportunity to work compared to then. And also, if we develop true equality now, there will be no rich and poor people, and everybody will be of the same size and same backgrounds. So if we set true equality, we start to set true equality now, in the future, everybody will see each other the same, no matter the religion, race, or gender. And also, for rewards, if everybody is rewarded equally, they will also contribute to society equally, and vice versa with judge prison sentences. Thank you.
Thank you, Kyler. All right, the 1 minute is up. All right, Jaden, are you ready?
Yes.
Forward. I need to check my timer. Hold on. Okay, begin anytime. You may begin.
True equality comes at a steep cost. It's a sacrifice of personal freedom. Although it's good in theory, it's bad for practice. We will lose our individuality for specialized needs. We will also. I think that equity is is more beneficial for society instead of true equality. As humans are imperfect and selfish, and equality will never be achieved. And thank you.
Okay. All right. So, okay, you stop before the time stop. All right, very good. Okay, so now we have come to the end of the debate. Okay, I think we had a very. Okay, so scorers, I hope that you all can go to the Google form. I've sent you the link via email and also via WhatsApp. Okay, I think we have a very tough decision to make, right? There were strong points from either side, some evidence from either side, right? So, well, let's see who won.
And we can go to question and answer. All right, so does anyone want to ask any questions about this project or about the debate in general? I'll start the ball rolling. How did it feel doing the debate in a virtual world? I want to ask the students how it was for you doing this in the virtual world versus having to stand in front of the audience in person. Would you prefer to stand in front of the audience in person, or would you prefer this virtual style? So I would like each of the debaters to answer. Maybe Wei Jing, maybe you can answer first.
Well, I had a bit of technical problems with my roadblocks on my computer, so I had to use an iPad for the roadblocks. So the iPad is right in front of me here. So I had to use two devices at once. The Zoom was also today the Zoom kept denying me access into this meeting, even though I had the right password. So I think online there are quite a lot of technical problems that would not happen if it was in person. That's all I have to say about this for now.
So you would prefer to be in person for the debate, is that right?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. How about Jaden? How do you feel about it?
I would prefer doing it here because you can just search information at, using Google, using a computer. Whether if you are in an actual venue, you can't search any information or claims about what the opposition said.
I see. Okay, thank you, Jaden. How about you, Kyler?
Actually, I would prefer to be in digital as well because it's less nerve-wracking than it's less nerve-wracking to face the computer screen than to face like 20, 30 people. And also, yeah, but also there's also some lagging issues with this during Zoom. So, but still, this is less nerve-wracking. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And finally, Caitlin, what are your thoughts about it?
I agree with Wei Zheng. I would prefer to do it. I would prefer to do it in real life because I feel like the debate is more fluid in real life than online because there may be issues with connections lagging, and yeah, you can also see the speaker's facial expressions.
That's a good point about the facial expressions. I know that Adino, my husband, does Toastmasters, and that's one of the issues that they struggle with is the reaction from the audience. Maybe I can ask you, Adino, how do you guys deal with that in Toastmasters when you can't see the audience and get the reactions that you should be getting?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I was just about to go to that question. Usually we ask everybody, and there is no exception, to turn on the cameras. So when you have the cameras on, you can communicate not just with your facial expressions, but you also with your hands and your gestures. The other thing that we recommend is for you to stand up. Just stand up, and it allows you to be more expressive. So my question really to the panel here of debaters is, has this experience of virtual debating underline anything, maybe this element of using the camera? I know you guys were not expected to turn on your cameras, but I'm sure it helped. Did you use that as a strategy to turn on your camera to debate with your camera on? Because you obviously had the choice to turn it off, and let your avatar speak on your behalf. Did you use this opportunity by turning on your camera? Was that a strategy?
I feel like, well, most of the time I was focusing on controlling my avatar, so there wasn't very much I could do about that. And I also feel like most, if not all of us, were more focused on the Roblox than the actual people, like their hand gestures and their facial expressions. They're more focused on the Roblox game.
Oh, as in like you moving your character from the seat to the front of the...
Yeah.
But while you're there, did you focus on, making your Roblox character avatar move or gestures and all that? No, right? You were just more focused on your arguments, right? Once you were in front, correct?
Yes, because it's not instinctive. It's not instinctive like it is in real life. You have to click a button, or you have to like time it at the right moment, or your character could lag. So I feel like it's way better in real life.
Yeah, gotcha. It's not easy unless you have a motion camera looking at monitoring your face.
Yeah, and then your character makes
moves, right? Yeah.
based off that. But I don't think anyone's rich enough to have that, or even if there's that technology compatible with Roblox.
Yeah, what about your other colleagues, Tyler, Wei Jing, Jaden? What are your thoughts? Did you use camera on as a strategy?
Uh, Same with Caitlin. I didn't really focus on what I was doing. I was just focused on my arguments and trying to come up with stronger points for my arguments. I wasn't really focused on what I was doing here.
Okay, thank you.
Not really, because while they are talking, I'm focusing on taking notes and re-evaluating my points. So I'm not focused on the camera.
Okay, so when I was talking, I was looking at my notes, and I was also looking at the roadblocks a bit and at my points. So I wasn't really looking at the Zoom window.
Right, thank you so much. Looks like nobody really was focused on using the camera to their advantage, but I appreciate your honesty. Thanks so much.
Oh, maybe it's just that this is rather new and we're all getting used to how to do this, how to operate online, and how to make the most use of these tools. It's rather like those scenarios I see where surgeons are using a camera and remotely operating. It must feel like that, you know, like trying to move your hands remotely when it's just so much easier to move your hands yourself in a surgery, you know, to just do it that way. So I think that's true. We all have a long ways to go. It's been many months, but I guess it's really a skill that will take a while to develop. And I guess also, you know, we're dealing with our internet session, or the internet that we have here in Malaysia, you know, and what kind of package you have at your house. And we're all dealing with whether our software is up to date and things like that. So hopefully as time goes by and this becomes more of the norm, this will be less of a problem, or we'll find, like someone mentioned, Ready Player One. We need Ready Player One gear to be in the virtual world. That would be very, very interesting. It is very interesting to feel totally immersed, whereas we don't really feel totally immersed because we're sitting in front of a screen and we can see the screen and we can just look to the side and see the real world around us. Does anyone want to ask any other questions about this experience of doing debate online, using Roblox, about the project of how we used To Kill a Mockingbird? So Sharifa, you want to tell us who the winner is?
First of all, congratulations to everyone. You did really well. Okay. I think for this case, right? Who won? Right. Unfortunately, a lot of the responses didn't look at the evidence more, but tend to look at the analysis and reasoning behind the arguments. Okay, and also they looked at the rebuttals as well. All right, so a very interesting response, because a lot of the response, a lot of them marked differently from me, but it's fine. But a lot of them marked the same. All parents actually had this sort of the same idea of how the students should be scored. Right, slightly different from me though. Okay, so for me, actually, what I looked at was evidence. Okay, so I felt that the winning team should have given more evidence. Yeah, but this was not so. All right, but the evidence given was the arguments behind the evidence was really, really strong. The analysis and the reasoning, and that's where and the organization of the arguments was also very strong. Okay, So you won on that part. Okay, right? So the losing team, you know, you only lost by like less than 10, if I'm not wrong. Okay, so don't be disheartened, right? I think your strengths were actually your crossfire and your rebuttal round. Right? I liked one of them actually questioned the question with a question. You get it? Right? Right? That was when I loved that. All right. So really good. Some of the speakers were spoke like silk. I mean, my gosh, some of you can just be so smooth, right? I wish I can have as much confidence as you. Now even, I continue to stutter and stammer when I get nervous, but oh my gosh, some of you are just like, you can be radio announcers. Okay, the particular stuff, all right, very good for the pro, which is Kyler and Rachel. You talk about the Scottsboro Boys and the Great Depression, right? Your counter arguments are really good. I especially like the second speaker, right? You did what you were told, right? You question the definition of equality and equity, right? Oh, sorry, that was Jaden. Sorry, that is Con. Oh no, it's too late. It's my bedtime, so I got confused. sorry. No, I apologize. I was talking to Jaden. Yeah, for that part you were really good. I know you're Con. Okay. I love that. Okay. You also questioned the group very well as well, your opponent. All right. Kaylin, you talked about communist leader, right? But I didn't know whether you were talking about Stalin or Mao Zedong. Okay, because both of them were killers and were known to be killing millions, right? Okay, so just be careful about that. Wei Cheng and Pilot, you talked about the Scottsboro boys and the Great Depression. Okay, so very good. And also fair justice. I like this idea of fair justice, right? So Kyla's strong points added with good evidence and reasoning, right? Jaden, instead of, okay, you actually gave Kyla a win when Kyla say, oh, my evidence is from history. You should, instead of saying like what in history, you should have said, yes, and in history, in the whatever Scottsboro trial, in the book, yada yada yada, rather than asking him to explain, because he wasn't using history actually, he was using scenarios. But when you asked him to explain, then you gave him that point. All right, the winner is Caitlin and Jaden. Yay! All right, very good. Okay, so well done, right? Just a note for everyone, for the students. Okay, this debate, right, works well if you work in a team, as a team. Okay, so I hope that all four of you, helped each other along the way throughout the process. And also sometimes ideas, right, when you're doing a debate, don't just bounce off each other. Consult your teacher or consult your parents, right, and ask them, do you think you can poke holes in this? Do I give enough evidence? All right, because sometimes you need another person's perspective, right, to strengthen your arguments and also make sure that you have the right evidence.
Thank you so much, Sharifa. I do want to say thank you for all your work guiding the students over the last several weeks, and your time that you spent having extra sessions with them. Thank you for doing that. It means a world of a difference. And thank you to the students for all your hard work. And yeah, your commitment. You came to extra sessions as well to make it work. And that made a difference too, because like when we did this the first time, oh my goodness, I looked at it and I really did not know whether, I thought, do we have to cancel this Roblox thing? Maybe it just cannot work. But by rehearsing and practicing it over the weeks and weeks and weeks, we got the hang of it. And I'm glad that we did it. I'm glad that we tried this out. It's certainly not perfect. There's definitely things that are better in person. but I'm glad we looked into this and we looked at how it works. So thanks for everyone's patience, for all of the technical glitches that we had and whatnot. Thank you so much for your patience. Thank you to the parents for your support and for coming today, because coming and watching the debate is really important. It's no fun having debate. You're talking to no one, right? There's really no point to what you're doing. So having an audience does really matter. So thank you so much for making the time and for staying this late. It's really quite late. So thank you so much for doing that. Yeah, and thank you to Jonathan for helping with the technical issues as well as being a producer today. So I think it was still a very good session overall, and I'm glad that we did it, and we will see what the future holds for online learning. I'm sure that next year we'll still have online learning, but we'll also be back to face-to-face classes. So this isn't the end of our online journey as well.
Can I add something, Amy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, sorry, one of the things that I'm really proud of this group of students is I can see that they've used all the knowledge that they've learned earlier this year, like, you know, doing research. Right? See that. So I really appreciate that you know, you don't just shelf what you've learned earlier this year, but actually continue to use it. You can see that you've been quoting a lot, right, from different sources. I really appreciate that, and you should really give yourself a pat on your back, okay, for being able to apply what you've learned in other classes for this activity. So well done. Yeah, sorry, Amy, I just had to add that. Yeah.
It's okay. I'm so glad that you noticed that too. That makes me say also that I've noticed an improvement from January till now. You guys are much more confident in your speaking, and you're really able to hold your ground. You're really able to handle questions. I have seen in previous years that some students just freeze and they don't know what to do. So you guys are doing really well. You've really improved a lot. And my hat's off to you. I think these are going to be good skills you can take with you, and you'll be able to use them because of the practice you've gotten and the improvements you've made. You've really come a long way, all of you. So thank you, everyone, and I'm going to say good night. Okay, so good night to everyone, and thank you for joining us today for the debate. This ends our debate for level 3.